Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Command Online. I think it was about a month ago that we did some cooking. We did some fruit kebabs. This month we're going to do something a bit crafty. This is the last one we're going to do before we all go back to school. But it's a nice thing to do on a slightly blustery day. I don't know if it's blustery where you are. It's certainly blustery where we are. And so it's a lovely thing to be able to do today. And it's going to involve a bottle, and it's going to involve some wooden spoons, and it's going to involve some other people that are going to explain how we do this as well. So I'm going to introduce them as we're going to go through. David doesn't know what order they're going to go in, so I'm going to say good morning to Caitlin. Morning, Caitlin. Good morning. Hello, Margaret. Hello, Mark. And hello.
Caitlin will be back in a second.
That's exactly fine. That's fine. We will welcome Caitlin back in a short while. Watch that place. There's Bliss, which is always lovely to see. Lovely to see you as well, Margaret. Are we going to go to Poppy and Daisy? And here we go, Poppy and Daisy. Morning, Poppy and Daisy. Good to see you.
Hi.
Well, hi. How are you doing?
Good.
You were telling me you're going back to school. When is it?
Next week.
Thursday. Next week. So back to school. So we're going to continue to do these, but we're going to do these after school in September, because we know that 11:30 you'll probably be doing maths or something like that. So we'll carry on with these after school. Hello again, Caitlin.
Hi.
So I should have warned people the order it was going to come in. We're then going to go to Derek, who we saw in the opening credits. Morning, Derek.
Morning.
Morning. And Derek's got a special technique that he's going to teach us this morning about tying the knots. Is that right, Derek?
Yeah, that's it.
Sorts of knots that would tie a ship up on a blustery day. But the person who's going to lead this today is Richard, and Richard's going to come in now. Richard, good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. So, Richard, you are going to lead us through and explain what it is that we're going to do this morning. And just to say that if you think I couldn't remember all that, you can always go back and watch us again, can't you? Or there are some instructions on our Facebook page that explain exactly how to do it. Yeah, is that right? So here we go. They are on there we go. You can find them, and you can find them on our website as well. It explains exactly what you need to do. Now, I'm going to try really hard to do this one, but Richard is going to explain through it. So probably we're going to go to a big shot of Richard, I guess.
Hello.
Hello. Yep.
No, it's Chris. Hello.
Yeah.
I was really tempted to have an empty chair when you came online there, but that might have just driven David mad. So, yes, what we're going to do today is we're going to make a bird feeder, and it's going to be out of 3 simple components. It's a little bit fiddly to do, so you need to have your wits about you while you're working on it. But it really is very low cost and very high environmentally friendly sort of thing to do. So we start with just an empty plastic water bottle and a 500 millimeter squishy plastic sort is the type that works best. You don't want the plastic to be too thick, because we're going to have to cut it. And the thicker it is, the harder it is to cut. But the thinner it is, the more sort of fiddly it is. So we have to take care. But this is about the best. We're also going to use a couple of wooden spoons, as Chris mentioned. These are actually not food kitchen quality wooden spoons. They're craft wooden spoons. We got these in a pack of 4 from Hobbycraft, but there's all sorts of places that sell these. And if all else fails, go online, have a look on Amazon or somewhere like that, and you can find them in a number of different craft type shops. And the only other thing we need is a couple of rubber bands and a piece of string. And when we put all that together, we end up with a lovely little bird feeder that's just the job for this time of year, where we're starting to think about autumn. As we're filming this at the end of August, autumn's starting to come. The wind's a bit high today, and it's a bit cold and rough. It's only going to get worse from here, folks. Sorry for the next few months. But as the autumn comes on and the flowers in the gardens and in the fields turn into the seeds, they're really a valuable source of food for birds to stoke up for the winter and to be able to fuel them up and help them to get through the winter. And those seeds don't last on the plants for very long. On a windy day like this, a lot of the plants will be dropping their seeds on the garden already. And so in order to supplement what the birds can find in the fields and in the gardens, it's really important that we help them along by providing a bird feeder that will give them those extra seeds sort of artificially, but just at the time that they need them. If you think in the depths of winter when it's really frosty or when there's snow on the ground, it's even harder for the birds to find food. Well, if we've got one of these bird feeders hanging in the garden, they know they can always come and get some there. And they'll treat you because they'll show you, or we'll see all sorts of interesting and colourful birds through the winter as a result of this little project that we're going to do today. So are my girls all there, or my helpers, Caitlin and Poppy and Daisy and Chris and Derek? Perhaps we ought to start with just a tiny little pop quiz and see whether anybody recognises some of the birds that we might see in the garden. I'm going to just use some flashcards and show you some pictures. And if anyone wants to shout out, can you unmute them all, David? And we'll just take a chance on extraneous noises for a minute. Can you see that one? What's that?
Sparrow?
That's a house sparrow. Yes, Chris, you get the first point. Yes. So that was supposed to be the easiest one, and that was supposed to help you all to get into this one. Anybody? Any ideas? Who said that?
Goldfinch.
Goldfinch. That was Poppy, wasn't it? Well done, Poppy. Here's another one. What about that one? Slightly pinkish with a little bit of a blue head there. Somebody said chaffinch. Yes, it was Derek, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then a little bit more pink.
Robin.
It's not a robin, actually. It does look a bit like a robin, doesn't it? These are quite rare nowadays. They used to be quite common. It's a bullfinch, and it's actually a gentleman and a lady bullfinch.
I didn't understand any of the girl.
I'm glad I got sparrow.
And one more, and this is a lady and a gentleman, and I've got them both on the same page, but like that. There we are.
Goldcrest.
No, it's another finch. It might not be very good, but
Green finch.
It's a green finch. Thank you, Derek. The colours are not particularly bright when on the screen because they're reflecting the light that's shining on me. But yes, so finches and sparrows particularly eat seeds. Some of the other birds that we get in the garden, like robins and blackbirds, and they more go after insects and grubs, but we're not going to make a feeder that will feed them today. So anyway, let's get on with the craft. So we start with our little plastic bottle, and if it's got a label on it, we can take that off first of all. So just a little bit of preparation. We just get rid of the plastic label or the paper label that's on it if you can, by just cutting underneath it. Squeeze the bottle in a little bit just to get the scissors under the label and then just rip it off. How's that? Just we don't need to be advertising the manufacturer or the supplier of the water, and the birds want to be able to see the seed inside the bottle, so that's why we do that. Okay, everybody ready? So we also have this piece of paper. Now I've distributed a kit for all my helpers today of lined paper, and the reason I've chosen lined paper is because I'm actually going to show you a little what you young folks call a hack. On the lined paper, you can see that at the top and bottom of the paper, there's a wider margin than the normal spacing of the lines where you write on. So at the bottom, if you take your paper, and it's the narrower of the two margins on the top and bottom, you just cut the paper, cut that bottom strip off along the bottom line of the bit where you would write. Okay. Okay, everybody? All right, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as our little gauge or template, our little tool to measure where we need to put the holes in the bottle in order to start this assembly. Now, the other thing to remember is that when you've got a plastic bottle like this, these are made in a mold. So you will almost always be able to find that there are actually two lines running down from top to bottom and actually across the bottom. That's the mold lines. That's where the bottle was in a mold that sort of formed it when it was being made. And that's the line, the dividing line where the mold opened up. So if you can find on your bottle one of those lines, Everybody be able to see that? Can you see your mold lines all right? And you'll see that immediately, directly opposite, there's another line that's the other half of the mold. Okay, so we're going to use that as the point at which the point where we're going to make our first hole. And we can use our piece of paper to measure up from the bottom. Just put the piece of paper aligned with the bottom, and you can see if you put it across the seam, across that join line, you can see where to make your first hole. And we're making our holes with a sharp nail. You can use any pointed object that you can find. Often you find them in the kitchen, sort of things like things that you prod cakes with and that sort of thing. My wife will tell you what the technical term for that is. But use any small sharp pointed object and make a hole at about a paper's width up from the bottom of the bottle, like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit fiddly because the bottle is a bit squishy, but if you've kept the lid on, then it won't squash up too much. Okay? And then go to the other seam on the other side, and at the same height, make the other hole. Everybody managing all right?
Yeah.
Lost my seam line now. Where are we? Right. Okay. So, right. Have we got two holes now, one opposite the other? And a paper's width up from the bottom?
Yep.
How are we doing? Okay. So, now, if we wrap our piece of paper around the bottle, lo and behold, A4 width paper is more or less the same as the circumference of the bottle, isn't it? If you wrap your paper all the way around the bottle, it more or less meets just about. So if we take our paper and we fold it in half, and we've got it and make a nice, good visible crease at that halfway point. What we can now do is if we line the end of the paper up with the hole we've just made, but above the hole, immediately above the hole, then bring the paper round the bottle. Where the crease is where you want to make the next hole.
Ah.
Above the paper. So we're going to, with one width of paper to the first hole, and then a second width of paper to the second hole, but it'll come out 90 degrees from
Yes.
the first pair of holes. Okay?
Okay.
And we'll do the same thing again. You can, because you haven't got the seam as a guide, we have to use the piece of paper. You just pull the paper around the bottle, and we can then measure where to put the second hole in this second row. It's a little bit more awkward because the bottle pinches in at that point. Yeah. Okay. So make another hole. So now we've got two pairs of holes, and they're at 90 degrees. Each pair is at 90 degrees to the other, and they are a paper strip width up from each, one up from the bottom, and then the next pair is another one up from that.
Yeah.
I hope this is making sense.
Yeah.
You girls getting it? How's Poppy and Daisy doing it? Has that worked out all right? Yeah. Yeah. And Caitlin? Good. Thumbs up. All right. Well, that's the hard work done, really. Now we've got to take our scissors, and for each of these pairs of holes, what we've got to now do is make the holes a little bit bigger. I've already lost my holes. There we are. That one, just that one. Right, I just need to adjust my hole a little bit. Don't worry about that. And then what we're going to do is just make a little, with your scissors, just insert the point of the scissors into each hole in turn, just gently nibble a little bit of a slit into widen the hole crossways and up, but not down. Okay, so it's like 3 little cuts from the hole, and just what we're going to try and do is make that hole big enough so that the handle of the wooden spoon is going to go through it. So we need to just keep looking at the wooden spoon and trying the handle out, but just gradually make the hole a little bit bigger. Don't overdo it. Just do it in little nibbles so that we don't make the hole too big. And then just keep trying the handle of the spoon until it goes in. Okay? That looks like that's working. And that's the same on the other side. Exactly. I see that some of you are ahead of me. So I better catch up with you. Right. So we've done that one. You doing all right, Derek? How you doing, Chris? Everything okay?
Yeah, getting there.
Okay. So we do that for both pairs of holes, so that the wooden spoon will actually push all the way through, like that. So that's the bottom one, and for the top one, same thing again. Not quite done with working on these holes yet. Has everybody got theirs in so that they can actually see their wooden spoons into their bottle? How are we doing? Yes, Caitlin, I can see yours. Poppy and Daisy?
I'm still working on mine, Richard.
Yeah, I'm still working on mine. I'm doing more talking than working.
We're going to need to make these.
Come on, there we go. Make that hole a little bit bigger. No, that's it.
We're getting there.
Are we nearly there yet?
Nearly, very nearly. I think everybody else is ahead of us, Richard.
Derek, are you there? Hold on. Oh, yes, look at that. Poppy and Daisy, yes, I can see that Daisy's just going in there. How's Poppy doing?
We just need this one a little bit bigger.
Now, what we're going to do, while we're working on this, so that everyone can keep on with this, you see one end of the spoon, obviously, has got the spoon end on it, and it's a bit wider. So what we want to do is now take the wooden spoons out and make one of the holes a little bit bigger so that we can get the spoon end further in. And we also want to make it so that there's a little bit of a gap above the spoon so that the seed, when we put the bird seed in, will actually tumble down onto the spoon. So we're going to make a sort of a triangular shaped hole where the spoon of the spoon end of the spoon, if you will, is going to go. And that triangle needs to be a little bit bigger, higher as well as wider. Wider so that it accommodates the spoon, and higher so that there's this clearance for the seed to pull through onto the spoon. And as you do that, we need to cut away the flap of plastic. With the handle end hole, we don't need to cut away anything, because the more bits of plastic there are there, the more it will grip the handle of our spoon. Okay, so I'm going to need to make it just a little bit bigger. So we're trying to make a sort of almost like a, I don't know, like a tunnel type of shape above the spoon itself, so that the seed is going to fall through onto the spoon. If I put that close to the camera, I don't know whether that's visible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we've got a little bit of a gap here. Okay, we do that for both spoons.
Yeah, got that.
Okay.
That's a tricky bit.
if you get your spoon tucked all the way in there now, so that the bowl of the spoon is actually more or less right up against the bottle. And then take your rubber bands and just wind them around the handle end of the spoon to be able to stop the spoon from falling out. So just just wrap it round and round and round. You can do it several times and then slide it right up to.
Ah, this is great, Richard. I can see how the seed would just fall out. I'm just going to have to adjust the opening a bit, but I can totally see how it would create space for the seed to fall out. I've never had to create so much in ages.
Haven't what?
How are we getting on there? Oh, you're on the elastic bands there, guys. Ahead of the game. Right, so Caitlin's on the elastic band jobs. Well done, Caitlin. Oh, my elastic band. Oh, that's really cool. I love how it's going to fall out. Derek's there with his elastic bands. Okay. This just stops it falling out, so when the birds land on it, it doesn't topple.
Yeah, stops the spoon from sliding out. And
it stops a bird. It stops a squirrel from coming along and taking the spoon out, so that they all fall out, doesn't it?
Yes,
I'm sure it's squirrel proof because squirrels, because they don't like elastic bands. They've got latex allergies, I hear. I've got a larger elastic band.
Make sure your spoons are the right way up when you've got the whole thing assembled.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You need to have your spoony bit, don't you? That bit.
The bowl of the spoon needs to be pointing upwards.
Yeah. Oh, Caitlin, that looks brilliant. It almost looks like a little. You remember the character Spoonie from Toy Story 4?
Ah, yes.
Yeah, has a bit of a look of Spoonie. There's the feet that walking along.
Now the thing is that those plastic spoons like that, I did look at whether we could use plastic spoons, but they're really a little bit too flimsy. Look at Poppy and Daisy's. Brilliant.
Wow, amazing.
Excellent.
You could have shown me. Right. Here we go. There's mine.
Are we all?
Yeah.
Caitlin's got hers done. Derek's just getting his last elastic band on, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to pass the baton of an instruction over to Derek, because Derek's got this really smart way of tying the string around the neck of the bottle so that it actually comes out nice and even. So Derek, would you like to just do that little demonstration you did to us earlier?
Both ends upwards, please, in a U shape. Yeah. Right hand over the top of the left and under. Begin to draw that little knot in a little bit. You've got one turn on the string. Same right hand, just twist it under again and back up. Yes? And now you've got a twisted piece in front of you with two shortish ends.
Yeah.
Begin to draw them together. Begin to draw them together so that the loop is getting smaller, the ends are getting bigger. Keep your fingers in the loop if you can, with a couple of your fingers. Just keep drawing it until it's fairly small, but still bigger, of course, than the bottle top. Then just take the pressure off it so that the ends are more or less in the middle of the circle, on the edge of the circle, the middle. The distance between them is more or less equal.
Mm-hmm.
Over the top of the bottle and draw it gently, equal pressure on either side. Draw it gently together and it should clamp onto the bottle top, and the string being away from one another so that the bottle still remains standing nice and straight. And that's how it will swing. And then everybody you all know a reef knot, presumably right over left and under. Two little ends up again, and then left over right and under. And there is a nice looking reef knot. Draw it together tightly by easing both things. And there is your loop, and the rope, the string should be more or less equal with the middle of the top of the bottle, as opposed to being at one side or the other.
That's brilliant. That's great.
And you got a half a barrel hitch on top of the bottle and a reef knot on top. Okay?
And that's how to tie a container ship up in Felixstowe Port when the wind's blowing. Thanks, Derek. That's great. If you were in the Scouts or the Brownies or the Guides, you probably learnt to tie reef knots and all of that sort of thing. It's too long ago for me to remember, so that's why I was very pleased for Derek to be able to explain that too. Has everybody done it? Has everybody got their hanging loop? Basically, we're now about complete with our bird feeder once we've got the string on. Okay, yeah, everybody's dangling their bird feeders. So now let's put that to one side for a moment now and take the rest of our paper. And what we've got to do is we've got to make a cone with it. This is going to be the funnel for filling the bird feeder. So all we need to do is just kind of, I don't really know how to describe this, and I certainly wouldn't be able to write this down, the method of doing it, but it's just really sort of wrapping the paper around itself in a sort of conical sort of way.
So almost as though we were making a clown's hat.
Yes,
Yeah.
Or in the old days, a duncer's hat.
A duncer's hat. Yeah, that's right.
Stand in the corner, Richard. And all we need to do then is just use a little bit of sellotape to just hold it together.
We do that way.
Last for very long, but it just enables us to get the bird seed into the bottle and not all over the table.
Oh, that'd be a challenge. Right.
Okay. So is everybody conically sorted? Yeah. So
Yeah.
we get our bottle, we take the lid off if you've got the lid still on, and then we take our bird seed. Now, again, the kit of parts that we provided for our helpers this morning, it's in a little bag tied up. Becky thinks the easiest thing to do with that would be to cut the corner off as you put the thing in the bottle, but you might need 3 hands for that. So you can either untie the knot and do it that way, or you can cut the corner off if you feel you can hold it all together.
I'm going to go Becky's way, Richard, and I'll let you know how much mess there is over my desk at the end. No, I've managed it.
Okay, well, I'm just going to cut the knot off. So,
and then we pour it into the funnel, Richard.
And then pour it into the funnel. Of course, the funnel being in the bottle neck.
You can see it already coming out. That's so cool.
There you are. Isn't that lovely?
So and I can see some of the seeds already come out for the birds to feed on, Richard, onto the spoon.
Exactly. That's the idea. It just allows a steady, gentle flow of seed, just like you would get in a bird feeder that you buy in the shops. Put the top back on, of course, to keep the rain out.
Look at that.
And then hang that somewhere in your garden, either from the branch of a tree, or if you've got hooks that you've got hanging plants on or anything like that, somewhere where you can hang it where the birds can come and hop onto there and they can feed. And they'll peck at the holes to draw more seed out if it looks as though it's not going to sort of flow very easily. They'll find a way of getting it out once you've got that far. This is mixed seed, so it's got all sorts of things in it. Some birds favour particular bird seeds. I know Derek has been trying to feed his birds with Nigella seed, but they've not been all that keen on that yet, but perhaps they're not that hungry yet, Derek. But this has got sunflower seeds, it's got corn, it's got all sorts of bits and pieces in it, and that should attract a variety of birds into the garden. And keep it topped up through the winter, because that's when they need the feed the most.
That's brilliant, Richard. Thank you. I think I might suggest that we don't hang them up today, because I think they may well be over the other side of Felixstowe if we hang them up today.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at yours, Caitlin. Let's have a look at Caitlin's. Look at that, Caitlin. I think you've done your spoons much better than mine. Caitlin, have we got Daisy and Poppy? Are you ready to show yours? Look at that. Look at that's fantastic, guys. That is so good. Thank you. Let's have a look at Derek's. How far we got, Derek? Yes. Oh wow, that's fantastic. Brilliant. And Richard, let's look at yours. Look, here we go. Yeah, we're looking good. Richard, thank you for talking us through that. I think that was our most ambitious craft yet, is what I would say. And it was wonderful. It's so good, because initially as I was doing it, I was thinking, oh, I'm not sure. I wasn't totally sure how it would work. Not that I ever doubted you, I hasten to add. But it's brilliant, isn't it, everybody? So I wonder if when we hang these up, we could take pictures of where we've hung them and we could share them. And if you're watching this later, you could let us know if you're having a go at doing this at home. If you do that, David's put the Facebook address on the bottom of the screen. But can I just say a huge thank you to Richard for organising this, and also to Daisy and Poppy, and to Derek and to Caitlin. I think the birds in Felixstowe will do very well. Well done, everybody. Fantastic stuff. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to do the same order if I can remember. Caitlin, I'm going to say cheerio. See you soon. Fine. It's also a trumpet, Caitlin. See you to Daisy and Poppy and Margaret and Amy. See you soon. God bless you.
Bye.
See you to Derek. See you. Thank you ever so much, Derek. Fantastic.
Thanks, Derek.
And Richard, I believe you may be being replaced by Becky in a minute.
I'm coming in now.
Becky appears.
I'm being supplemented, not replaced.
You can be together. Joined.
This is brilliant. I love this. And when we tried it out and hung one in the garden on a quiet day, we had a blue tit straight away.
Oh, fantastic. They've got high quality. Becky, what are we doing next?
Next time, Chris, we're going to cook, and we're going to make ourselves 2 little pizzas that would be perfect to use as a packed lunch, or if it was a nice day for a picnic. But we're going to make proper pizzas making a bread dough.
Brilliant. And Becky, what day were we doing this?
We're going to do it on Thursday next time. It's going to be the 24th of September.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it at 4:15.
So it's a post-school thing. So it could be that you could come home and cook yourself some pizzas, and they could be your tea, part of your tea.
That was my thinking. I thought, come home from school, get your hands dirty, get a bit of a mess in the kitchen, but just enjoy yourself and make something nice for tea.
That will be brilliant. I hope that you look forward to that. We'll advertise that pretty much when that comes up. But thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody who's been watching us today. And thank you if you've been watching us at a later date. And huge thank you to Rich for that. I just absolutely love this. I've got yet another bird feeder for the garden. Brilliant. Take care. God bless you, everybody. See you soon.
Yeah,
bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.